So Ancelotti won't be there, and it looks like Real Madrid is calling off the chase of Kylian Mbappe as a free summer signing. Although I remain skeptical to believe it, but it does raise the question if PSG are not going to compete for Champions League any longer. That they have peaked in the 2021, then obviously Mbappe can only do so much, and he'll want to take on a project with a new team, and Newcastle is going to be a possibility because of they will try to be ambitious to win the Premier League with a very defensive setup and to have an absolute killer up front on the counter, which is what Mbappe is. Um, Bodies forward, you just boot the ball up to Mbappe with all the space, and he'll be able to utilize it very well. Uh, there's Milan because he liked Milan, but he is a Ronaldo fan, but Milan will probably not be able to afford him. So Milan are off the list. Um, I'd still say he goes to Real Madrid, and Holland moves to Barcelona, and Guardiola talks him, kind of gives him all the scoop of how Barcelona is as a club and all that to take the place of Lionel Messi and a fine player to replace the aging Robert Lewandowski. So, and Holland and Barcelona and Mbappe and Real just seems the most feasible option to me. As to the Messi Ronaldo in El Clasico, but still is the possibility of Mbappe winning Premier League with Newcastle, and we could even see Mbappe win the Premier League with Newcastle, and he still moves on to Real Madrid, and Alan follows him to Spain, to Barcelona. So to me, these are the two possibilities. He wins the Premier League with Newcastle, and the two guys move to Real from Mbappe and Howland, the Barcelona. Um, or he doesn't even go to Newcastle at all. He just goes straight to Real, and that's kind of what we have going forward. But if he takes a massive contract extension with PSG, then I think uh, the Saudi investment fund will offer Mbappe a really big contract as a 1-2 year win the Premier League rental, and he can go off to Real Madrid. So I think that's possible as a 1-2 year rental. The SIF pays him an obscene amounts of money to try to buy a Premier League title, and then let him go off to Real Madrid. I mean, that is very feasible. So to me, it's straight to Real or winning the Premier League with Newcastle and just heading off to Real once he achieves that objective. So that's kind of what I make about the news of Real Madrid calling up the chase of Mbappe. But they're not gonna. They're gonna try to buy European dominance. So they're gonna try. There's no way that they're not gonna try to get Mbappe and Saint Jude together on the same pitch. I mean, Real Madrid are gonna try to buy themselves a dynasty. To suggest that they won't is completely ludicrous. I will call bluff on the report. The Real are going to try to get Mbappe and Vinicius and Bellingham together and your combination of Rodrigo and what have you, and the French midfielder. So Real are spoiled. They're the golden child of Europe. And when they do get Mbappe, they'll continue to be the spoiled golden child of Europe. I mean, Ronaldo and all these toys, Mbappe and all these toys, and Messi really shows just he was able to win multiple Champions League titles without the luxury of a Bayern or a Real and 4 out of 5 titles for Barca with Lionel Messi. I mean, this guy is the GOAT. I mean, I think Guardiola can talk Haaland into joining Barcelona. Rich get richer. The poor teams don't keep up. Rich get richer. The Juve will have to get more creative to match heads and shoulders with your Barcelona and Real Madrid. Italian football is going to be a step back. Liverpool are getting older. I don't know about Liverpool. Man City are going to reach the end with Guardiola. And Guardiola and Haaland together at Barcelona is certainly a intriguing possibility. They need to see what you guys have to think about all that I have intrigued about. But the Guardiola managing Haaland in Barcelona, these are the most feasible outcomes to see where these guys go. Because he's not going to play in the Premier League forever. So to me, he's going to go to Barcelona. And hopefully Haaland never goes to Milan. Hopefully Mbappe never goes to Milan. I could say as a Juventino, but Mbappe in case that would be superb. That would be superb. Leal kind of plays the left already, so Milan don't have the finances to really bring in Mbappe, so I would call that BS that Milan are going to get Mbappe. But who knows? But I'm calling bluff on Real Madrid. I believe Mbappe, with or without going to Newcastle, will end up being a Los Blanco player alongside Jude Bellingham. Florentino Perez is just the emperor that keeps on dominating Europe, keeps on dominating the influence over UEFA. And for the Rebels of Barcelona, the only hope would be to say thank you, Xavi, for your services, but Guardiola is going to enhance the player recruitment, and Haaland is the striker that we need to replace Robert Lewandowski, to make us competitive against the threatening force that is Real Madrid. Now, Barcelona should be all in on Erling Haaland and Pep Guardiola. It's kind of how I envision the future of Haaland versus Mbappe. It would be very cool if they have a rivalry in the Premier League, although I do believe that both players end up going to Spain when it's all said and done. The rich get richer, the poor get poor. That's just how it is. It's the modern game, and really hope Calcio has infrastructure, all that. But the way Juventus play and all that, Ronaldo wasn't working out. Being a defensive team is always part of the structure. Um, and always being a Juventino, being unselfish and sacrificing a little bit, helping out defensively, all that. Just there is a way to beat a Real Madrid and the Barcelona, because Juventus have certainly did that with Buffon and Chiellini and what have you, but they just never seem to They never seem to win the final. They've beaten Barca in the quarters. They beat Real in the semis. They could not beat both teams in the final. So I still believe there is a possible winning formula of Juventus, but the rich get richer, the poor get poor. And in the case of Barcelona and Real Madrid, I expect the rich to get richer. Barcelona and Real Madrid to get Haaland and Mbappe to start the next Ronaldo, Messi part two. So these will be the teams that will kind of win Champions Leagues if we do see these players go off to both of them. But as far as a 1-2 rental to Newcastle is concerned, it's possible that Mbappe can beat Haaland for Newcastle to win the Premier League and goes off to Real Madrid. But it obviously is full of contingencies, and we'll just have to see what happens. But I will be very surprised if Mbappe goes off to a Milan or whatever. Obviously, he like the Rosaneri and all of that, but they do not have the money. They do not have the necessary resources. The rich get richer. And Calcio obviously is lacking the proper infrastructure to compete. But what is going well for Calcio is um, the Serie A is more competitive. There's been four different winners in the past 4 years. Your Juventus, your Inter, your uh, Milan, and your Napoli. And there's American players going there. Maybe get the Americans watching the Paramount Plus and all of that, contributing more money and exposure. But uh, Ronaldo has a placebo effect with Saudi Arabia. Players going to Saudi Arabia, or if it's just players joining the Syria, then uh, it could be the Ronaldo effect, uh, where Ronaldo's influence in Syria obviously helped. It wasn't just Ronaldo, it was the team building of Inter and Milan and Napoli that allowed themselves to get over the edge. But it was a placebo effect of Cristiano Ronaldo going to the Liga Serie A and being a very big influence, just as far as exposure goes, as far as away matches go. But whatever the reason for Milan's rejuvenation during the COVID year, Inter with the Chinese owner, with the Antonio Conte, in the Napoli for the World Cup tribute for Maradona. Uh, yeah, it is not Juventus league to win every year, and it probably is the best thing commercially for the Serie A if Juventus are not winning the league every year. I think the league would like to compete, kind of be like the Premier League as far as you don't know who's going to win the league in any given year, and that's what would make Serie A far more watchable. But as far as two-man race goes for Mbappe and Alan to win the La Liga, then you know doesn't have to be competitive. It can be a boring two-team race. You have Haaland fanboys, you have Mbappe fanboys. Just Guardiola can easily sway him off over there, and you can't forget about Mbappe being a fanboy of Cristiano Ronaldo, and to be the guy that can lead them to a consecutive Champions League again for the first time since Cristiano Ronaldo. So you know, it's really the two most immediate outcomes that I see happening for Mbappe and Messi, and see it happens. And well, if they don't want Real Madrid to win the Champions League next couple of years, then he may be off to Newcastle. It just all depends on the years that they're scripting Real Madrid to win the Champions League again. How many years they don't win and how much years they do win ever since they get rid of Cristiano Ronaldo. It could be one title in 5 years, for example. You know, we'll just have to see. I'll have to do the calculation and I'll find out and I'll see when he goes to Real Madrid, but not many options available except for Newcastle. I can tell you that right now. Mbappe can be the most legendary player ever, part of a Mickey Mouse team, PSG, wins the Premier League with Newcastle and is off to Real Madrid. I mean, it's feasible, it's possible, and it certainly can happen. 26 and 27 are going to be big years for the gematria of Kylian Mbappe. So be on the lookout for that because it can happen, especially if Arsenal win the Premier League in 2025. Then Newcastle are left with no choice to go for the Kylian Mbappe, make him the richest player in the world. It's kind of how I can envision the future. It's very interesting. It's see how it kind of lines up both ways, but it just looks very promising that Newcastle can play for the Premier League title with the Saudi ownership, and Real Madrid could still have their hands on it. You know, as much as we Bayern and Juventus and Liverpool and what have you, Man United have been very irrelevant. But I mean, Real Madrid are going to be kicking ass in Europe again, and it's not what all the other big clubs and their fans want to hear, but that's just the reality. Try to reach a calculation and get back to you. And obviously, these are a lot of very big questions, and hopefully, I can have an immediate answer to the question. I forgot if I made a video on Mbappe winning the Premier League or not, but it is certainly possible that Mbappe, if he goes to Premier League, he won't win the first year, but he'll certainly win by the second or the third. It just all depends. Straight to Real Madrid or to Newcastle and then off to Real Madrid.